and the Junior Board of Directors is proud to support Faribault Community Television.
Hello everyone, thanks for watching Faribault Community Television. It's summertime and it's July. We thank Jason Rare, your financial planner at Ameriprise Financial, for sponsoring the month of July. It's been a tough time in the last few months, getting through all the diseases, rioting and whatnot. So we hope you're doing well at home watching FCTV. And again, we thank Jason Rare for his sponsorship of July. Let's check out this month's stories.
It's Molly with Riverbend Nature Center, and we have a bunch of really fun programming in July. July 13th and 14th, we have Busy Bees, a pre-K camp, and July 15th and 16th, we have Critter Connection, which is a first grade camp. We also have micro camps, and that is all about animals for preschool and kindergarten, as well as fun with fossils for 3rd through 6th graders. We also have an Adventures Out There camp on July 20th and 21st for 3rd through 6th graders. We also have adult programs, and we have adult book club. July's book is The Nature Fix by Florence Williams, and August's book is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmer. We also have Facebook Live Summer Story Adventures, so join a naturalist on Facebook Live Saturday, July 11th and July 25th for a live story. We hope to see you out at Riverbend, either with programming or walking the trails, and we can't wait to see you.
Hi friends, it's Addie from Riverbend Nature Center. I'm doing my part today by staying at home and social distancing, but still wanted to reach out and talk to you guys a little bit about one of my favorite subjects, fossils. So today I'm going to talk a little bit on how fossils are made, why Minnesota has fossils, and some fossils that I've collected the last past summer to help us look at some examples. So to start us off, what is a fossil? Well, in case you didn't know, fossils are the preserved remains or traces of remains of ancient organisms. Fossils are not the remains of the organism itself, but rather they are rocks. A fossil can preserve an entire organism or just part of one. So bones, shells, feathers, leaves can all be preserved and eventually turned into fossils. Fossils provide clues to what life was like in Minnesota in ancient times. So scientists can use these fossils to help see how dramatically life has changed through time. Fossils also help us to determine the age and the environment in which rocks were formed. So this gives us a great insight to what life was like in Minnesota many years ago before any humans were even here. So how is a fossil made? Well, the traditional method a fossil is made is when an organism from a long time ago dies and is quickly buried in sand, mud, or another type of sediment. And the soft parts of the body, like the muscles, your internal organs, all gets decomposed quite quickly through bacteria. But the hard parts, the bones, the teeth, other organisms have shells, those all get preserved in the rock quite well. The best fossils are found in sedimentary rock formation. So sedimentary rock is actually quite common here in Minnesota, and it is formed when small sediment particles traveling down a river or just across water will just fall to the bottom and slowly accumulate, and time and pressure creates a layer of rock. This is a very slow process, and so you can actually measure time in these rock formations as you go back. So now we know where to find them in sedimentary rock. We know what a fossil is. So why are there fossils in Minnesota? Well, fossils can be found throughout the state. We have some really old ones in the northeastern corner up on the Iron Range, but down here in southern Minnesota, our rocks are found from about 450 million years ago during a period called the Ordovician. So during this time, Minnesota was located about 10 to 30 degrees below the equator. So we were actually a tropical climate during that time. And a shallow sea actually covered most of this region. And so we had a lot of marine organisms living in those waters at the time. So we had corals, bryozoans, brachiopods, clams, snails, slugs, cephalopods, so like your squids and octopus, and even trilobites, which are no longer living but ancient insects pretty much. So many of these organisms are still found in modern oceans, but not all of them are. So like the trilobites, they are extinct, but corals, which were found back then, are very predominant now in our modern day oceans. And so I'm going to talk a little bit now about the fossils that can be found in Minnesota. And so these are ones that I have actually collected over the summer, but they were all collected on private land. So if you're interested in starting your own fossil collection, just be aware of where you're collecting and where it's allowed. So state parks and scientific natural areas are not allowed to take fossils or actually anything from, but you can check your county, local, and city parks to see if they allow fossil collecting, and there's more information through the University of Minnesota as well about what kinds of fossils you can find. But just to go over a couple types of fossils with you guys. I'm going to talk about the brachiopods first. I mentioned those a little bit earlier. I showed you this trace fossil that has a brachiopod in it, but they also can look kind of in this weird collection of bits and pieces. And so brachiopods are shelled organisms. Their shell is composed of two unequal sides. They're called valves. So if you've ever seen like a clam before, it has the two sides. The clam's two sides are equal, while the brachiopods are unequal. So just keep that in mind if you see those. These guys usually attach themselves to the bottom of the sea floor, so they just filter feed, so that water runs through these organisms, and they'll take the nutrients right out of the water and use that as their energy. The next really abundant and popular fossil I'll find is called a gastropod. You maybe have heard of those before. Those are our snails. So we have modern day snails, but we also had snails in ancient times as well. And they'll come in a couple different types. We have one that is like in a plane, like a garden hose. And so it's a coiled shell, but it's flat, versus a coiled shell that is in a spiral, kind of like this one. It looks almost like a cone. And you can see we have modern day snails. This is a snail that I found just in Nicollet County, shell versus its ancestor spiral shaped fossil. And so these gastropods are our snails. If a gastropod doesn't have a shell, it's a slug. And so without that shell, we don't know a lot about our ancient slugs because there was nothing to preserve that organism. No shell, no hard stuff, just soft, squishy stuff that was decomposed away easily. The next fossil I'm going to talk about is called the Receptacolites. It's a big word, but that's just the genus. Their nickname is sunflower coral, and that's what this guy is. And they're called that because this counterclockwise, clockwise kind of connection kind of reflects the disc florets of a sunflower. But this critter is neither a sunflower nor a coral. It's actually an algae that has a really strong cell wall. And so these guys, they're found in warm, shallow seas like Minnesota was many years ago, but they actually have been found throughout the entire world except Antarctica. So these were very prominent back in the day. They are extinct today. We don't have any living relatives of them today. And the last fossil I want to talk about with you guys today is called a stromatolite. And these are one of my favorites as a biologist because these have a very important role in the Earth's climate. So it kind of looks like just a big rock, the stromatolite is, but this is a special rock structure. They're formed by cyanobacteria that would live on some of the surfaces of this really shallow sea. Cyanobacteria are photosynthetic, so they create their own energy. So they would just be taking in the sunlight and then in the end produce oxygen. These were one of the first living organisms ever found in the fossil record, the oldest one going back to about 2 billion years old. How these are made is that cyanobacteria is living on surfaces of rocks, and they secrete a mucus. And this mucus actually kind of collects sediment. It's sticky, and then over time, just new layers keep forming. So you can see this layer of cyanobacteria on the fossil record. These organisms are responsible for our oxygen-rich atmosphere. So back when these cyanobacteria were living, there was not a lot of oxygen in the atmosphere, so most organisms didn't need that. They are the ones that shifted our atmosphere from an oxygen-lacking atmosphere to an oxygen-rich atmosphere, and then forcing all the organisms that lived during that time to be okay with oxygen. So huge changes were made by this stromatolite, and these are found throughout the world as well. So I hope you guys learned something new. I hope that you guys have a little more interest in fossils, and now with the nice weather are excited to go out and fossil hunt. So check in with Riverbend Nature Center. We're going to have some more programs once we can, getting people back out into the park and hopefully looking for fossils. Thanks for tuning in. Bye guys.
Hi, Dr. Michel Ritchie, Ritchie Eye Clinic. Thanks for joining me. As you can see, we're still all masked and gowned and all of that as we enter into the month of July. And what I wanted to talk about today was something that we're all running into. Obviously, I'm doing this by myself again, so pardon me if I adjust camera angles a little bit. I heard a new term on the news last night called caution fatigue, and I want to talk about that. I'm not sure this is the greatest term, but in reality, what it means is we're all getting sort of immune to the risks of the COVID virus. And so all of the caution warnings that we've been given, we're kind of growing tired of it. And that's caution fatigue. And the way it manifests itself is we see carelessness. We see a lot of people doing things that 3-4 weeks ago they wouldn't have done. The biggest thing is wearing a mask. Wearing a mask and keeping your distance in public. We need to be careful. The virus is still here. Everything that we've been doing has worked to really slow the spread. We are not going to eliminate the spread. As I've said time and time again, people will get this, and some people will get very sick. Our goal is to keep the number of sick people down to a level that our healthcare system can take care of them. So when you hear all of the numbers in the news, don't necessarily pay attention to the number of new cases, because that is not terribly relevant. There will be new cases and they will continue, and that's going to bounce around. The number to look at is what is the trend of people that require ICU beds. As long as the ICU bed trend is downward, then we're doing well. When that starts to trend back up, then we need to be really careful and pay attention. But the way we keep this going down is to keep doing what we've been doing. And that's very simple things. Wash your hands, socially distance, wear a mask. And you don't need to wear a mask when you're out for a walk. You need to wear a mask when you go into the grocery store, when you go into the closed environment where other people are. Wearing gloves is an added protection for you, the individual, as long as you take those gloves off and throw them away or wash them as soon as you've finished your task. So again, as we think about what's ahead of us for the summer, you're going to see a lot of these, and we ought to. You're going to get sick and tired of it. We all do, but we have to do it. And our goal should be to get ourselves through Labor Day and then figure out where we're at with respect to how'd the summer go? What are the predictions for a second spike as fall and winter come around? And what are the prospects for a vaccine? If you keep all of that in mind and be conscious of what they're calling cautious fatigue and avoid caution fatigue, we're all going to be in a better place. Kind of a short one today, but that's it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.
Welcome to the Rice County Historical Society. My name is Sue Garwood, and I'm the executive director here. And with me is Joan Miller. She's one of our volunteers at the museum. And today we're going to talk about some of the safety precautions that we've taken this summer to help make the museum be a safe place for you to visit. The first thing that you'll experience when you walk in the door is that we're asking folks to wear masks. That's for our protection, but most especially for yours, just to be sure that everybody is safe. And if you don't have a mask, let us know. We have some that are available. We'll be happy to provide one for you. The other is that you'll find that we have decided one of our best ways to reduce contact, which is what they say we should do, is that we are actually not charging admission for the summer. We're instead encouraging donations. That way we're not dealing with a transaction of money or anything like that. Then the next thing that will happen is you'll be given a guide. Now this is the same guide as was before, but you'll find when you come here that rather than being able to wander through the museum, we have some directional arrows to have you. So what we're going to be doing is that when you arrive, we'll have your first family group be the ones who come into this first area. This is a really great part of the museum. Well, all the parts of the museum are great, in my opinion. But this is really fun. This one starts with the Native American collection. You can see our Fleckenstein Brewery exhibit and Bruce Smith and other pieces of Rice County history. And so when your family group arrives, we'll have you gather here, just start at the top and make your way around. We will hold off a second group that comes until your group has moved on to the next portion, to the military exhibit portion. Let's go take a look. So this is the military portion. We start with the Civil War and Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War. And when your family is moved out of this front gallery space and down this hallway, that's, like I said, when we'll let the next group in. Again, trying to make sure that frankly, if we do it right, you won't even know it's happening. But we want to try and make it be so that everybody's safe and that it's really seamless. You can take all the time you'd like when you come. And there's some really neat things here, of course. Again, I am probably a little biased, but still, some really neat exhibits, including the World War I exhibit. Faribault had a resident who was actually, he enlisted early, so before the U.S. was even involved, and so he was actually with the French Army, and one of his jobs was to and take aerial photographs of France before and after bombing runs had happened. We have some of his artifacts that are. It's a really neat collection, and I absolutely, of course, think that it's worthwhile to come see. Let's go around the corner and you can see some other parts of the museum and how we're handling that. People are allowed to go up the stairs when they come to the museum. One of the things we're doing is that we're regularly making sure to sanitize the handrails and other kinds of public places where folks might need to touch. We want you to be able to go safely up and down the stairs, so we're happy to increase the hygiene and care of the handrails here. When you come around the corner of Main Street, we're going to have you come down now between these two cases that are really pretty fun to walk down again. in my opinion. You're going to walk by Liz Strophus. She is the World War II WASP for whom our Faribault Airport was named after. You're going to walk by Bonanza Shooter, which was out of Gopher Shooter Supply, and they invented some of the tools and equipment used for precision and competitive shooting. And then we have the Tilt-A-Whirl exhibit, which if you saw, may have seen some local press on that. You can see some of the artifacts that were featured in that newspaper. After you view the Tilt-A-Whirl exhibit, you'll turn the corner and come into the Whipple exhibit. This is for Bishop Henry Whipple and the legacy that he's left here in Faribault. You can see there's some pieces of paper taped to the cases. This is actually an exhibit in transition. You can see some of the topics that we're going to be covering, and we just thought as a way to sort of bring our visitors along in the exhibit making process, we would share some of the different phases of that. So you'll see this is an exhibit that is both open and in transition at the same time. And this is then the last exhibit that you will encounter as you make your way through the gallery. Again, this way, what we've done is you are seeing everything that we have, just doing it in a way that's safe. When it comes to the store, that of course requires transaction. And so we wanted to make sure that that was as clean and contactless as possible. So we've upgraded our system to using the Square system. We have a chip reader, so you'll be able to be the only one that handles your card. And then if you do need to sign, we have a cup here with pens with the stylus, and we have a number of them. And that way we'll be able to, if you need to sign, you can sign your name. And then we have a place, we're using time as our most effective way to disinfect or to remove concerns of the virus. The conservation lab at the Library of Congress and the Smithsonian have set guidelines of 72 hours. So we are letting these pens and other things sit for a number of days before we touch them. And what we do, I'll show you the check-in and check-out we're using. It's a very low-tech but very safe approach, is that when you sign in or sign out of our guest book, you can grab a pen from our clean pens jar and use it, and then when you're done, you can return it to the dirty pens jar. And again, at the end of every day, we put these in a holding spot, and we don't use them again for a number of days, and that is where the stylus will go as well. We hope everybody can come to the museum at some point in time over the course of the summer. We're here Monday through Friday from 9 to 4. Saturday from 10 to 2. Other times are available by appointment. The Faribault House is only open by appointment because of, again, that social distancing. We need to control and make sure that it's just one social family unit at a time that goes through the house. But you can find us here on the east end of the Rice County Fairgrounds, right off of 2nd Avenue. We're at 1814 Northwest 2nd Avenue. And you can find us on the web at www.rchistory.org or give us a call at 507-332-2121. Rice County Historical Society, preserving the past and keeping you safe for generations to come.
Hi, my name is Sonal and I'm a fourth-year pharmacy student at Hy-Vee Pharmacy. Today I'm going to remind you about that little spot in your home that is often missed, and that's your medicine cabinet. These cabinets are usually containing very important yet often missed drugs in there. These medications can expire or you may no longer be using it. With this evolving pandemic, I'm sure most of us are at home and another cleaning spree is due on your to-do list. For that reason, I'm just going to remind you what you can do about it and how to safely dispose of your medications. Make sure that you're taking a look at your medication bottles. If it's a prescription bottle, there's usually a date on it, and it normally is about a year apart. So after a year, it's normally getting expired. If it's a medication that you're no longer using, if the strength has changed or the medication has changed, make sure you're also keeping it in that pile. If it's an over-the-counter or a manufacturer bottle, they normally have a date printed on it. Always make sure if you're using a pill box and you're normally filling it every week, check the expiration date on the bottle just to make sure that you're not using something that's no longer valid. For these, you can always keep your overstocked medication bottles in a Ziploc bag, safely stored so you're not mixing it up with the other drugs. If your cleaning spree results in any medications that needs to be disposed, we have a few resources for you that you can use. You can just come into the Hy-Vee pharmacy. We have a take-back box right outside the pharmacy. No questions asked, just dump them in there. Otherwise, Rice County does offer the Faribault Police Department that you can also go and dispose of your medications that way. But before you do that, make sure you're always removing any identifying information off the bottle, such as your name and your home address. If possible, leaving the name and the strength of the medication is preferred. Remember, there are a few pointers I would really like you to make note of. Don't give any of your medications to your friends or family. Just because it helped you does not mean it's going to help them. This can be unsafe and very dangerous for them to take. Also, make sure even though your prescription bottle may say that you can flush it down the toilet, we prefer you not do this because this can lead to drug diversion, especially if you're throwing it away in the trash or flushing them down the toilet, which can lead to water contamination. Additionally, if it's a medication that you're no longer using, such as either a change in medication or the strength of the medications, do not keep collecting them. We really strongly recommend this. You want to make sure you're disposing of it. Just because you may think you may get the condition again, or you may need that medication strength again, your insurance will be able to give you a new coverage. Your doctor will be able to give you a new prescription, so please don't collect them. For this reason, we're offering the take-back programs here at the pharmacy or the Faribault Police Department. And if you have any other questions about how to safely dispose of your medications, feel free to give us Hy-Vee a call or your local pharmacist, and we'll be able to guide you better. Thank you.
Back again for FCTV, and again, Jason Rear is the sponsorship. Jason's been a monthly sponsor for us for a long time, and we thank him for his help in supporting FCTV. We again are watching the weather, watching the violence, and of course the disease that's going around the country. Hope you're doing well, and maybe get a chance to watch FCTV from time to time. It gives you something local to watch, something you could care about, instead of just all the other factors that are going around here this summertime. So thanks again to Jason Rear, and let's watch a few more stories from FCTV.
Hello, Faribault. Nort Johnson here. We're getting into July of 2020, and as we know, the year's been interesting to say the least. I'm very appreciative of all of the kindnesses that have been extended toward the Chamber from our membership, from the public in general. We appreciate the support for the work that we've been doing. Quickly, at the Chamber website, which Troy will put up, we do continue to update the COVID resources page. That has links to grants, it has links to guidelines, it has links to loan applications, and to the most updated information from Alina, from Mayo, from Northfield Hospital and Clinics, as well as the CDC and DEED, that's the State Department of Employment and Economic Development. We continue to make sure that all that information is up to date and available for you. So again, rolling into July, there have been some changes, of course, with summer scheduling. Some of our events that we were hoping to enjoy aren't happening. The latest news is that the Twins are going to be back. I'm hoping to be enjoying a couple of baseball games on TV, hopefully in person. We'll see how that shakes out as well. And some town ball is going on, so go Lakers. A couple of things I'll share chamber-wise from an event perspective. We've updated and morphed our car cruise nights. You can check that schedule out on our event calendar at FaribaultMN.org. Also, you can check the Facebook pages for Faribault Main Street, and it will have up-to-date information on those car cruises. Our chamber golf outing will have happened probably the week that this rolls out. We're thankful that we're able to use the country club and use the right social distancing techniques in order to have that fundraiser. It's important for us, important to gather as well. And I want to thank everybody that's finding their way down to our local restaurants that have opened up with appropriate tactics in place to keep you safe while you continue to enjoy some of these great Faribault amenities. I'm going to announce and share a little bit of information about a program that we developed in partnership once again with the Owatonna and Northfield Chambers of Commerce to help launch those businesses in the hospitality industry back into the mix. So many of you are familiar with the Chamber Checks program that exists. We've created a mini road trip gift check program. They are gift checks just like that are pre-made out an amount available for purchase with no additional fees, and those are good at restaurants and bars in all three of our communities that are part of the mini road trip. We have a brochure available that comes with those, that mini road trip food tour it's called, with the listings for all those places that you can spend your gift checks at. They've been very well received to date. Came up with this idea specifically to help support those important businesses. We want them open once this pandemic is over, and they need our help to survive now. So by purchasing these checks and using them in those communities, it's a big plus. So here's the next big plus about it. I want to give a shout out to Harry Brown's Family Automotive. They have offered and are following through with doing matching purchases, dollar for dollar, up to the first $20,000 of these gift checks that are purchased, not just in Faribault, but Owatonna and Northfield as well. They're matching that, buying gift checks and giving them away for people to use in our hospitality businesses. So big thanks to that company. A few other house cleaning items. The Chamber of Commerce continues to be open. We have not closed. We've modified the front door hours and the in-office hours, but we want you to know that we've been continuing to do the work, and we will continue. The office continues to be open by appointment, and an appointment can be made actually by coming to the front door and giving us a call. We will continue with regular open door hours as our board of directors and staff become comfortable and see fit, but we are able to take care of all of your needs right now. Thank you, Faribault. We appreciate your support.
Hey everyone, it's me, Miss Denny, your favorite children's librarian. You know me, I work at the public library here in Faribault, Buckham Memorial Library. You can see it in the background. And I am making this video so that I can share with you everything that's happening at the library this summer. Ooh, there's a lot going on. Our summer library program this year was called Imagine Your Story, and now, because everything will be online, it's called Imagine Your Virtual Story. And it's gonna be so awesome. Now, we care about you so much and we want you to be super safe, so I put a lot of thought and planning into the summer library program this year to make sure that everything that happens we can do safely online or in our own homes. And that doesn't mean it's not fun though. There is still gonna be so much happening. We'll still have a reading program, we'll still have story time, and there will still be all 9 of our weekly performers performing for you online, virtually, and you can watch it from anywhere. Super excited about that. So get comfy and get cozy. I'm about to explain how your virtual summer library program is going to work this year. First, let's talk about the reading program. The summer's reading program will begin on Friday, June 5th, and that is the last day, it's the day after the last day of school for many of you. Not all of you. Some of you get done a little bit sooner than that, you lucky ducks. But a lot of you have the last day of school as June 4.
And so the first day of the summer library program is Friday, June 5th. So anytime after that, starting at 9 a.m. and anytime after, you'll be able to go onto the library's website or the Facebook page and register for the summer library program. You can register, or your parent or your guardian can register for you. It'll be a very simple registration to fill out. I'm going to show it to you right now, actually. So it looks like this, and it just asks for some simple things. Ask for the name of the kiddo signing up, and I should point out that youth of all ages are able to participate in this program. So babies all the way up through kiddos that are starting their senior year of high school this fall. Okay, so birth all the way through finishing high school this fall. And so it asks for your name, your age, what grade you're going to be in. There's a drop-down menu for that. And then it asks for your parent or guardian's name and their email address and phone number. Those things are important. Since all of this will be online this year, I need to be able to communicate with you and send you your reading and activity log. Okay, so all this stuff will be available online all summer long between, here's the dates, Friday, June 5th, ending on August 29th. So you have a lot of time to work on the summer reading program. Let me show you what the reading and activity log looks like. It looks really similar to last year's log. Just like last year, you get to set your own goal. Obviously, with such a large range of ages that are able to do this, we all might have a different reading goal. So you can choose to track minutes or pages or books. And so each square on the reading log that has a book in it, that equals your goal. So let's say I decide that every time I sit down to read, I am going to read for 20 minutes. And then I would mark down 20 minutes. And every time I read for 20 minutes, I could cross off a book. Okay? Or I could say, I'm going to read 15 pages every time I sit down, and then I could cross off a book. Or I could choose, every time I read 3 books, I cross off 1 book. Does that make sense? So everybody can set their goal according to what their personal reading goals are. And then there are also activity squares on here. Every single one of these activities can be done safely from your home or online. Okay, so it has some that you may remember from last year, like have a screen-free day. Everybody always loved that one. But it's so important to take a break, right? Take a break from screens, especially right now. And then once you complete the activity, there's attending a virtual library program. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for that this summer, and I'll explain those in just a minute. Anytime you complete an activity, cross that off too. Now, important to point out, you do not have to do any of the activities. In fact, if you would prefer to read instead, you could say any of these squares that are activity squares are reading squares. If you want all 30 squares to be for your reading goals, that is totally fine, okay? So once you register, you're going to get an email that'll have detailed instructions and will have this reading and activity log attached. You do not have to print this log. You do not have to mark it on it. You can if you want to, but I don't need it back, and I don't want it back. And friends, when you're done, all you have to do is let me know. You can email me, you can call me, you can talk to anybody that works at the library. Let us know that you're all completely done. And again, we don't need the log back, you can keep it. And just let us know that you're done. I'm gonna believe you, the library staff will believe you, and then you will get further information from us on how to collect your reward. You will be eligible to get 4 books and to have your name printed in the Faribault Daily News. Super, super exciting, right? And if you have any questions on how it works, you'll be able to email or call me as well. And so once you're, again, I also want to point out you have a lot of time to complete this. So you have all summer, especially if you signed up on June 5th, you have all summer long, but you don't have to sign up June 5th. You can sign up anytime this summer by filling out the registration form. And each kid that's going to participate will need to have a registration form filled out. That way I can keep track of who is earning the books and whose names are going to get in the newspaper. All right. So if you live in a house that has 5 kids in it, then you could register each one of the kids for the summer reading program. Okay, does that make sense? I hope you think this is exciting. I do. I love that you get to set your own reading goal. And related to that, I wanted to point out, very, very important, all the ways of reading are valid and all the ways count. So you can read by yourself, you could have someone else read to you, you could listen to an audiobook. Those are just 3 ways of reading. They're not the only 3 ways. Any kind of reading counts for this. Okay, it's really important that you know that. And that's why it's okay for babies to participate. Obviously, babies can't read to themselves yet, but someone can read to babies, and babies can listen to audiobooks too. And so if your family is listening to an audiobook, or someone in your family is reading to all of you can count that towards your reading goal on your reading log. Okay, super. That's always been how it was. That has not changed. But I just want to make sure that you know that. Okay, so that is the reading program. There are a total of 30 squares. When you're all done, you let me know, and then I will get back in touch with you to explain how to get your 4 books and that your name will be printed in the Faribault Daily News. That will probably happen in September. I obviously don't have the exact date yet, but I usually wait until after the program ends, and then I will send a list of everyone who completed it, and it'll get printed in the Faribault Daily News sometime in September. Okay, so one more thing to point out about this, again, I want to make this very clear. If there are any activities on here that you don't want to do or that you can't do for any reason, you can read instead. And even if you just want all the squares to be for reading, that's okay too. Okay? So now let's go back and talk about the performers. We always have fantastic performers at the library every single summer, and this year is no different. Well, this year is very different, but it's not different in quality. We still have the best performers, and it's just that they're going to be online instead of at the library. So you don't even have to leave your house. You can watch them on your computer screen in your pajamas if you want to. I think that's pretty cool. Let's talk about who we have for this summer. There's going to be a performance from Tui. Everybody loves Tui, right? He is a Guinness World Record holder, and Tui has been performing at our library for a very long time. I think last year we discovered it was at least 20 years, right? And I know a lot of you love Tui as much as I do, so there'll be a performance from Tui. There will be a performance from Dazzling Dave. He's a national yo-yo master. Dave has been performing at our library for a while now too. And what's really great about Dave is that he does workshops for kids. And guess what? He's still going to do a virtual workshop for you this summer. So if you have always wanted to learn how to yo-yo, or if you already know and you want to learn from Dave again, you have a really cool opportunity this summer to connect with Dave at the end of his performance on Zoom, live with Dazzling Dave. So more information about all of these performers will be shared on the library's Facebook and website as we get closer. But I just wanted to make sure you knew about that so you can start thinking about it and getting excited. We're also going to have my good friends, Siama and Dallas. There they are right there. Siama and Dallas play music from the Congo, which is where Siama grew up. And they are just the loveliest people. I think you're going to love their performance. It's going to be so awesome. If you were lucky enough to see them the last couple of times they've performed at the library, then you know how great the show is. It's a kind of a mix of stories and songs, and it's just really, really great. And we're really lucky to be able to bring Siama and Dallas into our library thanks to the project was made possible with money from Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the People of Minnesota for Library Legacy Activities. Okay, we also are going to have science tellers. This will be the second summer that we've had science tellers. We had them here last year. Science Tellers does storytelling and science experiments combined. And this year they are bringing us a virtual program called Dragons, Return of the Ice Sorceress. So you will not want to miss this fun fantasy adventure featuring awesome dry ice effects and some science experiments. So cool. So make sure you tune in for that one. And our good friends, Mark and Lori from A Touch of Magic will be bringing mixed nuts to us virtually. I can't wait for that. They always make everybody laugh so hard. And Mark and Lori have really been innovating during this time too, doing a variety of different ways of performing. I saw them perform outside of a daycare through the windows. Super cool. What a smart idea during this time to still bring laughter and joy to people, but also being safe at the same time. So you don't miss their show. And then, boy, if you like laughing and you like magic, you're not going to want to miss my good friend Brodini. Brodini is so awesome. He'll be performing a video for us as well with all his magic tricks and his laughs and smiles, and super, super awesome. We are going to have the Riverbend Nature Center do a program for us with some of their animal ambassadors. They always do a great job of teaching us about some very friendly critters, and you get to learn some fun facts about them. So make sure you tune in to local treasure Riverbend Nature Center. New this summer, again, thanks to Library Legacy funding from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Funds, we'll be bringing in the Jolly Pops. This is a family music group that combines upbeat original music with a host of children's standards for a concert that is sure to please adults and kids. So the Jolly Pops, or the Happy Dads, as they sometimes call themselves, they will be singing about alligator dancing, popsicles, trains, pet dinosaurs, and everything in between. I'm super excited about the Jolly Pops, and I hope you are too. They're really fun. I checked them out a little bit online, obviously, before I booked them, so I think you're going to love them. And then we'll also have the National Eagle Center doing a program for us as well, so we can learn all about eagle biology, ecology, natural history, and cultural connections of the National Eagle Center that they provide for us. So that program will be done by a naturalist and will feature a live eagle ambassador. I'm really excited about all these awesome programs, and I hope that you are too. More information about all of them, including dates and times, will be available on the library's website and Facebook. So make sure that you or your adult that's in charge of you is tuned in to those two places, because that is really the best way to stay connected to everything happening at the library this summer, especially with all this virtual stuff going on, and there's a lot. So there will still be story time at least once a week, if not more than that, Facebook Live story times, as well as Zoom story times. Those have been super fun. I've been doing those for about, I think, actually 2 months now. So if you want to join for one of those, just check out the Facebook page to find out more about how to do it. And let's see, what else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. There's a lot, friends. There's so much to keep track of. I really wanted to make the summer still be special and awesome for you, because I know, it's been a hard time, right? It's been a little bit of a hard time, but we're going to get through this. We're going to get through it together, and we're going to stay connected virtually. I'm here for you. The library is here for you. All of our performers are here for you. Oh, that's what it was. I remembered what I wanted to tell you. Every single one of our awesome performers has agreed that I can book them again next summer, okay? So if they're going to perform for us virtually this summer, and the hope is that next summer we'll be able to get back and have in-person programs again for the summer reading program, and I will book each one of these performers, and we'll be able to see them in person as well. So you'll get to see them first virtually, and then next year in person. Friends, I hope you're excited. I hope you can't wait to read and earn books, and I hope you can't wait to do all these great programs online. There's going to be so many awesome things happening. Please, please, please stay safe, wash your hands, wear your mask, be as safe as possible, and take good care of yourselves. Now, before you go, I want everybody to take a quiet moment and think about your favorite book. So this is always my favorite part when I come to the schools. I always end my summer presentation by asking everyone to sit quietly and close their eyes and think about their most favorite book. And then I will count to 3, and I'm going to ask you to shout out your favorite book and wave your hands in the air. And I want you to do that even if you're just by yourself watching this video, okay? So then we can feel connected, because everybody that's watching this will be doing it at the same time, all right? My friends, so take a quiet moment. And I don't just mean the kids, even you grown-ups, I know you have a favorite book. Okay, so take a moment, think about your most favorite book, close your eyes, take a breath, and then when you're ready, I'm gonna count to 3, and we'll shout out our favorite book together. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Charlotte's Web, which, by the way, you can see me read on YouTube. That's right, check it out. All right, my friends, take care, stay safe, be kind, and read, read, read. Thank you, friends.
First United Bank and the Junior Board of Directors is proud to support Faribault Community Television.
Well, that's going to do it for the month of July. We're halfway through the year of 2020. It's been a tough year, a tough time for a lot of people, and we hope that you are doing well in all your travels and you're staying at home or working, whatever you're doing for the summer. Thanks for watching FCTV.